Hi, I'm Tally.
And I'm Sadie.
And welcome back to another episode of Mic'd and Misinformed, where we debunk podcast bros and talk about everything that's wrong with the manosphere.
The funny thing about male podcasters is that they'll have one single empathetic thought that girls probably discussed at sleepovers in the 5th grade and feel the need to start a podcast on it. Like they need to grace the world with these brand new takes.
No, like they're never enlightening, they're never even good. They're entertaining at the very most, maybe, because they're that stupid. But we're going to get into some of the most notable
men. Me personally, I have been a man-hater.
It's true.
Since day one.
Man-eater.
However, for those who are new here, welcome. We're going to be talking about one of the easily most hateable men, Andrew Tate.
Andrew Tate, the worst man on the internet. I have two 17-year-old brothers. They're juniors in high school, and they both refer to him as the GOAT. They call him Sigma. I yell at them every time. I think they're trying to piss me off, but it works. Like, it really does, because I thought I raised them to be, like, feminists, like...
Absolutely.
Kings. I'm mad.
I think we should dive into some of his worst takes.
Well, he brags about raping women.
Classic.
That's a start.
Title IX right there.
Perfect.
If he went to college. Didn't he also get tried for literal human trafficking outside of the country?
Yes, correct. Apparently there were women in his basement. And I guess Sadie audibly gasps.
I did gasp.
I guess that's what a role model is to some of these young boys. That's something to look up to.
I fear I care so little about Andrew Tate and what he stands for that I was unaware about the women in his basement.
Really?
That's awful.
Were you?
Not a laughing matter. However, I was just so shocked by that. Wow, that's a lot to take in. Yeah, wow. There's other gentlemen like the Joe Rogan.
Perfect.
I heard he said, and I quote, that depression can be cured with kettlebell swing.
And maybe that is why I'm depressed. I can't lift like 10 fucking weights. Like maybe 10 pounds. Like maybe that's my problem, Sadie.
One time when I was in high school, we had a motivational speaker come to my school.
Yeah.
He was actually a professional mascot.
Perfect. Perfect. That's a profession.
He was a professional mascot, this is true, and he came to give us an assembly, so the entire school was forced to sit down on this, and he came in, and he said, if you have depression, just be happy.
Well, obviously.
And that was the mental health talk of the school year. I think about that a lot.
That's really woke and
if you're sad, just be happy
Good
because the male professional mascot said so.
Well, and clearly he has it going on. Like, he has his life together.
Yeah, so unfortunately after that, people didn't have much respect for the assemblies. And then we did have a real motivational speaker who he came in to do tall ladder tricks. He brought a 16-foot ladder. And he had a whole metaphor about how it can be really scary to watch him, do backflips on this ladder when it's so wobbly. But when there's someone holding the ladder...
That's beautiful.
That if somebody's holding your ladder, then it's safe to do a backflip on top of a 16-foot ladder.
Right.
And so he had a student come and hold his ladder. And this was his metaphor for saying that you need a support system. Unfortunately, because people respected the men that came and talked to our school so little after the professional mascot,
right.
that he got to the top of the ladder during this mental health awareness speech, and he got to the top of the ladder and went to do a backflip, and the entire room was silent, and then somebody did just scream, "Jump!" That was pretty bad.
Yeah.
Also,
that is about
also a man who screamed "jump." So, I fear when men have a platform, it is often used for harm. Literally.
Yeah, and let me just say, that's about as deep as their emotional intelligence will get. It's good to have a support system. Don't be depressed. Sad is bad, and happy is good.
Sad is bad. Have someone hold your ladder.
My brothers. Oh my god, we've had let me just say, the only time my brothers ever even come into my room, like, I remember I was crying one time. I was going through a really hard breakup and a really bad mental health period. My brother Zach comes into my room, looks in the mirror, flexes in his wife beater, and walks out. And this is a true story. He didn't ask how I was doing. And listen, they're getting older. They're maturing a little bit now. I am so proud of these young men, and I love them to bits. But he has told me that I should probably just go to the gym or try one of his protein shakes with his Greek vanilla yogurt.
That does help a lot,
yeah.
I've heard.
Yes.
I grew up with 3 sisters and have only ever dated gay men, so
Perfect.
Coming to college was kind of a big culture shock for me because I started interacting with real live straight men, and that has been a challenge for me a lot, just because
Yes.
I think they're shocked often when I, a woman, either disagree with them, have a sentient thought, or even tell them no.
You can't
And
speak.
this has been a big learning experience. One of the few straight men that I did interact with in high school was my best friend's ex-boyfriend, Josh. He was the worst.
Josh.
And he really...
Never ever trust a man whose name
named
starts with a
Josh.
J.
It's true. You should never ever trust a Josh or a J name, just in general. And but Josh really didn't like me because I was often the person to tell him either no or that he was being rude or mansplaining. And he was an only child, so that does,
If you guys don't know what mansplaining is, basically.
Oh, mansplaining. I experience it as a woman.
As a woman?
Far too often, and so I need no
I experienced
explanation.
it with my father.
But feel free to explain mansplaining to the crowd.
Yeah, well,
The fans.
to the fans watching, Mason Hayes, I'm talking to you. My father and my grandpa both have this really, really good habit, and listen, they're great men. Love my dad to death. He's very girl dad, like, he's perfect. And he catches it when he's doing it, and my mom and I clock him. But they do like to re-explain the most simple terms ever in their own terms to us, as if we could not possibly be able to comprehend anything on our own. And just that it's sensitive takes over all. My mother, actually, one time, she had just given birth to my brothers. We're twins. My mom's like 110 pounds. She's tiny. These twins were both like 6 or 7 pounds. Like, this woman was in pain. And she was recovering. She was resting. And my grandpa comes up to the room and says, did they leave one in there?
Whew.
Whew. Whew. I just think that as a society, we have given men so much confidence that there are no repercussions ever.
Yeah.
They're not ashamed of nothing ever. And that's really, we need to humble them a little bit. It's a problem.
Yeah, my senior year, we were doing presentations that we had several class days, time in class, a lot of it, to work on them. And we had to do these presentations in, I believe it was my econ class, my senior year. And a student who clearly never really showed up or did anything, walked up to do his presentation and blatantly stated in front of the class and the teacher grading this assignment, I did this 20 minutes ago in the middle of my art class, so
Perfect.
bear with me.
Perfect.
And then he just
Men in the
proceeded
arts.
to make things up the entire time and say it so confidently. And then if something sounded like it was wrong or incorrect, he'd be like, don't worry about it. And I was like, if I don't prepare so extensively
Right.
for a presentation, I walk up there and I'm a mess. But the fact that he did nothing and walked up so confidently, now I'm certain his grade reflected that, but it was just the sheer confidence that I have never seen in a woman ever.
No, the confidence of a man who is so underprepared, it's unmatched. Shocking.
Terrifying even.
So, here's what we really want to clarify. Feminism, yes, this was a little bit of a man-hating podcast episode.
This is
and that's
true.
okay. But feminism in general is not about hating men.
No, it is not. It's about hating systems that reward the worst kinds of men while punishing everyone else.
And we're not against podcasts, but we shouldn't use these microphones to push misogyny onto every young, impressionable, vulnerable kid watching and listening. It's creating incels. Incels everywhere.
Incels everywhere. And making these young men believe that empathy makes them weak.
No strong man feels threatened and weak by a woman's strength. Like, if your idea of masculinity requires domination and superiority, maybe time to reevaluate.
Perhaps with a therapist.
Yes.
Not a life
Correct.
coach who only drinks raw eggs and protein shakes and gets their information from Reddit threads.
Perfect. Bottom line, manosphere thrives on fear of vulnerability and losing control and equality and all that good stuff.
Yes, but self-worth depends... But if your self-worth depends on suppressing others, it was never that strong to begin with.
There's strength in accountability. Maybe listen and think, am I that guy? Maybe do some reflecting.
Maybe better men don't fear feminism. Maybe they support it.
Thank you, Sadie. Yes. Thank you guys for tuning into Mic'd Up and Misinformed.
If you like today's episode, rate us 5 stars, tell a friend, and send it to a guy in your life who really
Send it to all of them. Every single one. Just because he has a mic doesn't mean he has a clue. Bye!